Hello and welcome back to Sherwood Park Toyota. Today we're looking at a Toyota Sienna LE all-wheel drive in the color silver. Let's take a look. Starting up front, underneath the hood we have the gas component of the hybrid energy system. It is a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine, automatic transmission, gets up to 245 horsepower, 263 pound-foot of torque, towing capacity up to 3,500 pounds. Up front you've got your LED headlights, customer daytime running lights, and of course that blue Toyota hybrid logo. Onto the side you've got 17-inch alloy wheels. Then as you move back here, you'll find on both of your rear handles that you have this little black button. We'll talk about it in a minute over on the other side. All of your rear windows do come with factory tinting, and up top we have black roof rails. Now on the back of the unit on the right hand side you have your LE trim level badge. Left hand side you have your HEV and all-wheel drive badges. Sienna logo goes the whole way across the back, and underneath of this is the backup camera. To open up your cargo space, reach next to the camera, press the button, and lift upwards. Inside here, we have, of course, both second and third row seating. Second row seating is a 40-20-40 split, meaning that this middle section functions independently from either side. It's actually optional whether you want to have that little guy sitting there or not, but we'll talk about the functions of that row when we get up to it. For the third row, it is a 60-40 split along the right-hand side, so larger section here on the left, smaller section there on the right. For your third row occupants, they have access to their own storage for cup holders, as well as the charger ports you can see glowing over on the far end over there. And there are definitely more than one way to set up the seats here. So as we said, this little middle section up front there can be removed, but for the third row, they have a couple of different layouts as well. So you can see this little diagram that shows you some of the different options and how to achieve them. We have two of them shown here right now. One of them is the typical upright position for somebody to be able to actually sit in it. Second is the typical lay down situation where you simply pull on this string labeled number 1 or this flap, and it will simply fold itself forward like it is on the left. The third is a stow and go option. So that means that once it is folded downwards, you can actually use this handle here and fold it backwards into this super deep cubby storage space. If you want to, you can of course leave this space open, gives you plenty of additional space down below there and makes tons of room to fill all the way up to the top if you've got a lot of items or any large items that need that amount of headroom. But otherwise, you can stow this backwards and it will create a flat deck-like surface all the way across the back, which just gives you a nice low-down area to load something that is just large and flat across the back space. On the right-hand side, you'll find this little false wall panel. Behind this is where you're able to access your battery, and then down on the ground is where you have both your rubber and carpeted Sienna mats. To close up your space up here, just reach to this little handle on the top right-hand corner, and you can pull this back down into its starting position. Next, let's go take a look at the inside. So to open up your space back here, you can, of course, pull on the handle here. The other option is to use this little black button that we mentioned. So if you give this guy a press, you'll find that your door will slide itself all the way open like that. Inside, your interior upholstery is the dual tone of the gray cloth. One of them is more of this heathered texture in the middle, which gives a nice amount of contrast. Now, of course, we do not have a middle section here that has armrest/cup holders. Instead, you have armrests located on both the outside and insides of the seats that you're able to adjust at any point in time should you decide you want to. For this middle section, to remove it, there are again these little straps labeled number 1 and number 2, and there are more diagrams around that will show you exactly which ones to pull in which order in order to take this section out if you want to do so. You also have controls on the side of the stable seats here that allow you to move them back and forth. So this one will control your back pitch, and then the bottom one, this more square one, will allow them to slide along these tracks. So you've got these super long tracks that run the whole way across the floor space here, which gives you a ton of room to move your seats back and forth, whether that's for cargo purposes or simply for the comfort of your occupants. Looking up top now, you'll find this third air conditioning control panel up top on the roof here. This allows for your second and third row occupants to control their own temperature, fan speed, and mode. This can be controlled from up front. We'll take a look at that when we get up there. On the back of both your front passenger and front driver seats, you've got pouch storage. Back of the console, you have these little charger ports here. Down below is your cup holder spaces. And as mentioned, all new units come with both carpeted and rubber mat sets. Last thing to point out here is that inside on the windows you'll find this little tab right here. This is the control for your built-in sunshade, so it allows for this shade to go all the way up top and connect into these hoops on either side, helping to keep the sun out of everybody's eyes without taking away from their view. We have this installed in a few different vehicles, so it's not too hard to find videos showing this if you do want to see more. To close up your space back here, you have the same options as opening it, so you can press on this black button or pull on the handle. Inside of the door, you have another handle located here that you can pull on, or your last option is that if you look underneath either one of these little handles, you'll find this little glowing dot. So if you follow the handle all the way down, you have this little button. Reach in and give this guy a press, and your door will automatically slide itself the rest of the way closed. Now, inside of your driver's door, power windows here for both front and back. You've got your window lock, power lock system, and side mirror controls. Tons of different storage arrangements for you up front here. Then inside we have power adjustable seating, back, front, up, down, and lumbar support. You've got your hood release latch on the bottom left-hand corner of the dash. On top of that, you have the release for the gas, and then your power door off. So this allows you to have the control over the power door, whether it can be open and closed from the inside with the methods discussed. This way, if you have people inside that you don't want to be able to just willy-nilly open and close doors, get themselves in and out of trouble, you can just turn this off, and then the doors can only be open and closed either from the outside or from using the little control panel that is up top here. Then you have your traction control, you have your automatic headlamps, heated steering wheel, you have dash brightness, odometer trip, and a little storage shelf. Taking a look at the steering wheel, it is black leather with black stitching. Left side, controls here for your dash display. Hands-free communication and volume control. Right-hand side, radio controls in the bottom, adaptive cruise control up top, which includes a sonar and lane departure. In the middle here is your infotainment display screen. This is where you go to access much of the information about your daily driving experience. Right now you're looking at the optional navigation, which you can choose to connect through Toyota connected services. Then you have your audio listening, AM, FM, satellite radio. Full Bluetooth connectivity includes Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and there's optional USB adapters throughout, such as this one on the bottom right-hand corner. Then you have your Bluetooth connection for your personal device. This would also be for hands-free communication. In here you have two things. One is your climate display, so you have it for the front, for the rear, and then additional options, which is the Eco Heat Cool. You can choose to have this toggled on or off. Then you have your trip info. All the way at the bottom is all of your settings, everything from personal profile, Bluetooth information, Wi-Fi display, vehicle customizing, dealer info, apps, etc. Volume controls in the bottom left-hand corner, climate control center underneath of this. So we do have dual climate control up front here. You also have the controls for the rear, as you can see. All of the different syncing options mean you can either have everybody synced up, you can turn off the syncing so that everybody functions independently, you can have just the front synced and leave the rear by itself. Lots of different options to keep everybody comfortable. On each side up front, we also have 3 levels for heated seats for both the driver and for the front passenger there. Defrost for front and rear windshield are right in the middle. Left of this, you have your 4-ways and push start ignition. As you said, you've got this little charger here. You also have a wireless charging pad in the middle. So you've got little bumpers that are on either side, as well as this built-in tray design, which will keep your phone nice and secure when it's in that spot. It's not going to go flying out when you're actually about down the road. Having this also means you don't have to worry about having charging cords in your vehicle at all times. Of course, if that is your preference, we do have the adapters for you. All of this is located on this nice big storage shelf, goes the whole way across the dash, and the bumpers for this wireless charging pad also help create a bit of a divider. So if you put an item on one end and then you go around a corner, it's not going to accidentally slide all the way down to the other end out of reach. In the middle, you have all of your cup holder and storage spaces, gear shift, parking brake, parking hold, EV, and driving modes. Then you've got another little cup holder that has a little pop-away design. In the back here is your console. So you press the button and it will flip itself up. Super deep storage goes all the way down inside here. I can shove almost my entire arm inside of this space. You can also see that there's this ambient lighting inside, so you can see what's going on even in the dark. You also have some charger adapters on the left-hand side, and there's this little cutout in the trim piece here, so that if you close this, it's not going to pinch your cords, and if you want to have the cords feeding out of there with your phone more in reach, this little long space here is a great option for a phone. So is this little flat space up front, which can connect to this adapter on the left. Underneath, you've got more storage that goes underneath of this area, and you've got 12-volt adapters down there too. Then on the right, underneath of the storage space, is a lockable glove box. Up overhead, we have this little guy. It's a pop-away mirror. This way, a lot of people find themselves using the rearview mirror to keep an eye on their occupants. This way, you can keep this dedicated to eyes on the road, and this one for its purpose of keeping an eye on your people. Then you have your SOS button, overhead lighting controls, and up top you have your power door release for each side. Thanks again, folks, for joining us on this full video tour for this Toyota Sienna all-wheel drive in the color silver. It is located here at Sherwood Park Toyota at 31 Automall Road in Sherwood Park, Alberta. You can also reach us at 780-306-7703. And remember, life is full of choices. Let us be yours.